Welcome to the Gray Area Podcast. It is Wednesday, December 20th, 2023. Appreciate you joining me here on my YouTube channel at Kevin Gray Sports. Make sure you download and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get the podcast for free on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Make sure you give the podcast a 5-star rating and write a review while you're there. As I mentioned, interview Wednesdays here. Really appreciate you joining us. However, and wherever you may be listening to us. So excited with my guest today. You know him, you love him, you've seen him all over the place. He's been in this game for quite some time. He is one of the best Cowboys analysts you can find, one of the most entertaining people you can find on the radio. But more importantly, in my case, he's a genuine friend of mine. And one of the reasons why I am where I am today, as far as this whole radio game is concerned, you can catch him every single day, 2 to 6 p.m. on 97.1 The Freak, hosting the Speakeasy with Mike Reiner and Julie Dobbs. He is Jeff Kavanaugh. Jeff, what's going on?
Hey, let me see. Will my board play stuff?
Kavanaugh! That's right.
Did you hear that?
I did hear that.
Hell yeah.
Yes, everyone heard that for sure. So it's funny because when I do hear that, it randomly gets put in my head, and then every now and then I'll just randomly go around my house shouting, Kavanaugh! Like, that's kind of how, it's supposed to work, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, people are good at creating things that are catchy. I damn sure didn't create it and have no idea how to do anything like that. But, yeah, one time, I can't let it. I used to play the whole song, like it's a whole chorus of that.
Yeah.
But then one time I did that on my YouTube page, and it demonetized the video for a copyright claim, even though I've been told in that song, the dude who recorded it is playing every instrument and doing the vocals, and it's not technically an infringement, but AI doesn't know better. So I just play Kavanaugh, and that's it.
How did you discover that? Did you just randomly come across it one day, or did someone point it out to you? Like, how did you come across that?
No, friends of Ben and Skin, who do the midday show on 97.1 The Freak, they had somebody make it because they have many talented people that are friends of theirs, I guess. I don't remember who it was, but I'm very thankful to be able to fire it off.
I'm sure we'll get more of that throughout the course of the show. And I led off with the fact that, you're one of the reasons, a major reason why I am where I am as far as this station is concerned. And I think for people who don't understand this business, finding genuine friends in whether it be the radio game, podcasting game, are very hard to find because, there's a lot of Hunger Games type of thing going on in this industry. So when you find someone who not only is a genuine friend, but keeps their word as well, is very rare in this business. I'm sure you have found that to be the same at times when operating in the radio game or such as you've gone throughout your career.
Yeah, and I do my very, very best to not worry about it when you think, because wherever you work, if you're in close proximity to people a lot, I think a lot of times those become your friends. And then if you're no longer in that proximity, and that's no longer the case, like I try really hard to just be like, it's just kind of the way it goes and not worry about anybody or think negatively about anybody, which can be a challenge, but we try our best. Yeah. And the radio world is pretty tough because much like every other industry on planet Earth, people want to get the best bottom line they can for the cheapest that they can. And it isn't just the station that both of us were at. Another station in town, I believe, lost their best show because that's the way it goes. It's like, well, we think our brand can carry this, which I guess, that's what bosses are supposed to do or whatever. And so I don't know. I think if there's a lesson in there for everybody in the world, which is like switching jobs is okay. Grabbing any opportunity that comes your way is okay. Because whoever your boss is, the odds are they don't care about you. They just want the job done for as cheap as it can be done for. So if you have an opportunity to better yourself, loyalty is so made up for the most part in work life. Like loyalty is to family and friends. It is not to employers because they don't care. So if you have a chance to get a raise or do something that you'd rather do, for less time and more money. Go, go, go.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think part of this business is, and that was one of the things I had to get comfortable with, whether it be in this industry or any industry in general, is the idea of leaving, because you get into a routine, you get comfortable, you get into a space where you know what's going to happen from day to day at each time, and you go with that. And there's a lot of times where you don't want to disrupt that. I had to get to a point, whether I was in insurance, now in radio, whatever the case may be, I had to get comfortable with the idea of leaving, even if that meant disruption, because I knew at some point I had to find a way to not only fulfill what I wanted to do, but be better for those around me who had believed in what I was doing for the time that I was doing it in. And I think that for a lot of people is difficult when it comes to changing whatever that change looks like, because it gets you uncomfortable in that way.
That makes sense, because I mean, comfort is comfort, like, and I would say comfort is, depending on scenario, but a lot of times comfort is not a good thing, but it's comfortable. There's not a challenge or an unknown or anything like that. And it's like, yeah, I could do this. I could have stayed at the last station I was at for my entire life, and I would have been absolutely fine. But it was like, is that what you want? Or is there something out there that could make you happier? Could you live differently? Could you do like all sorts of different things that I think I was probably at least 2 or 3 years late on moving on from that, because comfort.
Yeah.
But I can make money. I have a job that so many people would kill for. And it's like, you can't just leave that and go pursue. And I would say this: don't leave a job if you don't have anything else lined up.
That's a good piece of advice. It's a very good piece of advice. Yes.
I would say make sure that you have something and if you have something, by God, go. And, I just, it's easy to stay. It's easy to stay and keep doing what you've been doing. It's easy to live your life the way that you've always lived it. It's easy to let the machine that is your conditioned brain just run the show and just do what you do. And you'll wake up again and you'll do it again. You'll wake up again, you'll do it again. And eventually you'll die. And that'll be that. But I don't know. Wouldn't you rather chase something? Wouldn't you rather do what you want? Wouldn't you rather pursue something that you think would make you happier or feeling more fulfilled? Comfort is not necessarily good.
It isn't based off of your situation and what there could be out there to get you out of your discomfort. And sometimes you learn things about yourself. And I think that's one of the most important parts of getting this uncomfortable is what can you learn about who you are as a person, and then what those around you are able to support you in, because you'll find out a lot about other people too. And that's one thing, whether, like I said, whether it be an insurance rater, you find out about other people too who are willing to stick with you and to support you even in that change to getting uncomfortable. Because sometimes, and I tell people this, sometimes people are meant to be with you for a season, and those who were with you in a previous time aren't necessarily the ones that are meant to come with you when you move to a different season, which is okay, because that means that there is someone or something else that's waiting for you to be able to help usher you through that particular point of your life, that if you would not have moved, you would not have been able to meet or be with other people or do something different that would help you fulfill what you're supposed to be doing in life in that sort of way.
Yeah, which is also scary.
Yes, it very much so is.
Comfort is very easy. I know this. I can do this. But no, yeah, I think there's a lot of wisdom in there. I think that the people who are going to be part of your situation, the people who are going to be part of your life, I think that they earn that, and that will be shown to you. And there's always an opportunity that there's folks you haven't met yet that deserve to be there. And there's definitely the chance that there's people in your circle that don't deserve to be there. So you'll figure that out.
You'll figure that out too.
Yeah.
So how does sports guy do less sports, but still be sports guy at the same time?
I don't know. I really don't. Like, it's, our station now is, there's no mandate. There's no nothing. It's literally, we are talk radio. And they wanted to hire people and create a station that was based on, we think you guys are good at what you do. We think you're likable. We think you're fun, whatever. And we think people will listen to it. And so go. And even in that scenario, man, I walked in thinking I knew one person I was going to be working with. And now I'm not working with him. And we've changed things. And I'm working with two people who, when I got started, I didn't really know. And you want to talk about going outside your comfort zone. And I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It is so much fun. And maybe there's a lesson in there that when I was sports guy, I'm going to name local radio stations in DFW.
Yeah.
When I was at 105.3 The Fan, which was the sports station, I listened a lot to The Ticket, which was more funny, fun station. So like I can love football and study football and be a huge sports fan and still want my form of taking that in to be fun and relaxed. And like, sure, there's a time where I'll do a 20-minute segment without any jokes or anything goofy or dumb happening. Like that'll happen.
Yeah.
But around that and outside of that, like, I don't know, it's so different and so much more fun to have fun. And like that straight sport was never my bag. I got like, that's where I got hired. I got hired there and you do the job. And I still like, even there, it's not like nobody there has a personality and you're not having fun. Like that bleeds. Certainly it bleeds through. But I love knowing that when I'm going to do 4 hours of radio, I mean, if there's 4 hours of sports stuff that I think is the best stuff I could do that day, I'll do it. It's never happened.
Sure.
It's never happened, but we'll have sports days that are 2.5 or 3 hours of the 4 is sports. And we'll have days where 15 minutes is sports. And I love it. And I think that's probably one of the things that held me back from doing something different that I would like more quicker was your fear of people know me as. And it's like, yeah, Cowboys or NFL draft or football or sports or whatever. And it's like I remember years ago with an ex-lady friend who's still a wonderful friend and she kicks ass. But talking about how like, yeah, I'll be in Dallas, Fort Worth. Like I'll be here my whole life because this is where I built a brand and people come to me for this. And like, so this is just where I'm going to be. And it was thinking that way that you can be defined by something like that kept me somewhere where I wasn't happy for too long. And now it's like, oh, wait. Also, we live in a world where you can do stuff on the internet.
That's very true.
You can do stuff from anywhere. And I love terrestrial radio. I love being in the room with the people that I work with. And I plan to do that for, I don't know, a while. And then, I don't know. But it's more fun this way.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things over the last, couple of years now that having conversations with you and being able to dive more into, what this means for you at this point in your career, that you're having as much fun, if not more fun than you've ever had at any point in your career. And part of that is you're working with individuals who you may not have known in that way, but now you're discovering other parts, whether it be from a creative side, from a show perspective. You're doing things now that's kind of stretch you. Did you anticipate that as far as that was concerned when you decided to leave, and what that meant for you from a creative and a show standpoint, that you were now going to be able to tap into some things that maybe you felt like you couldn't have previously?
I expected the general idea of what we're doing. I expected that, but you don't know what it's really going to look like or be like until you do it.
Yeah.
And when I first started doing a show that's with Mike Reiner, Julie Dobbs, and Groobs, everybody's background is from a sports radio station.
Sure.
So I think somewhere I would have thought we still would have been fairly sportsy, and at times we are. But I don't, there's no way to really know in an industry like ours what something's going to look or sound like just until it happens. Like we tinker with things all the time and you just don't know. But it turns out that what we spend most of our time doing is probably just laughing. And that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, there was no way to plan for it. Initially, yeah, I would be a little bit uncomfortable where it's like, ooh, you know what? It's been 2.5 hours and we hadn't mentioned the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
And like, ooh, this isn't very squared away. And I'm goofy. And so I'm like, man, if I'm thinking we've gotten off the rails a little bit, what does the listener think? And eventually you just realize if you're having fun, if I turn on the radio and I'm listening to somebody and they are just having an effing blast,
yeah,
I doubt I'm changing it. And so, yeah, you just let it ride. I thought I knew what to expect, but you never know really in like in a creative space. If it's not going to be just you never really know what something's going to look, sound, or feel like. And it's been way better than I could have dreamed. It's awesome.
No, and I can tell based off of the way that you interact with your co-hosts on a day-to-day basis. And I'm not gonna lie to you, when I had the opportunity to be able to do radio with you and Mike Reiner, I had to pinch myself because I looked around and I thought, man, for somebody who moved to Dallas a decade ago, and to be completely 100 with you, I had no idea who Mike Reiner was when I moved here. Now, obviously, as you come to learn and be in this space and you understand the radio business and what Mike Reiner means to radio, particularly sports radio, you're like, okay, all right, I get it. This man is a living legend. And to be sitting across from him doing radio and then also doing it with you, it was a surreal moment. And I think part of that is you have to be able to move into spaces where you feel like you can be the best version of yourself without knowing that that could actually happen if you don't move somewhere else. Like, I would have never had the opportunity to be able to sit down and do radio with the two of you if I had not felt like I was going to bet on myself based off of what I felt like I had been able to put forward. And again, this is with no disrespect to anyone in this industry. Sometimes you got to be able to take the leap. And I think there's a lesson to be learned in that, because you just never know what space you'll put yourself in when you decide to bet on yourself and what that actually looks like in that form.
Well, and especially like what happens in our world is most people can't make the leap. Like the number of people who go from being an intern to being a part-time employee ain't that high in radio. The number that go from part-time to full-time ain't that high. The number that go from full-time salaries to host contracts ain't that high. And as you whittle down those numbers, the people in charge know that too. And so they know that a lot of people will like the industry or have the dream of whatever that end goal. And so a lot of people just are going to hang around, and spots aren't going to be created. And if you do certain things, is that all you can do, or is somebody else going to really want you? I'm obviously not going to name anybody.
Sure.
A lot of people in radio would love to leave where they are and go somewhere else that pretend they wouldn't. And as someone who did it, I know that because I talked to them about how I was going to, and I heard back, me too, or I would love to, or is there room for, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of people, and it's a lot of the world, just don't have that option. And
sure.
it takes the right opportunity, and it takes the right skill set and the right people or whatever. And like the radio machine is really hard because you just do math.
Yes.
DFW, how many live radio talk shows are there that pay a living wage that exist? How many jobs are there? 50 total?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. How you going to get there? Jeff, how did you get there? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I got lucky.
Yeah.
People liked me, I guess. And then I was okay at it. And that's, I don't know, but eventually for a lot of people, it does work out. Like for you, it did work out. I feel like having been at the Fan, the same station that you were at, I know what it looks like. Like I wouldn't think any of the shows are going anywhere. Nobody. And so it's like, okay, so you're in the role that you're in. And then what? It's like, I guess I hope someone quits. I hope someone leaves. I hope something opens something. But to me, you've always stood out because I think you get it in every aspect of what our industry is. Like I don't like starting with hard work. I've worked with KT too long, and he's like, I'm tired of hearing how hard I work. Tell me how good I am. You're really good at talk radio. You're really good at, if you want to do more formatted, like a Mavericks pre and post game, you are really good at doing the work in terms of what you want me to go to practice. You want me to go to the game? Okay. You want me to get audio? Cool. You want me to be good at social media? I don't know how to post the videos of people with high quality stuff off of TV. KG does it 17 times a day. He knows how to play the social game. And eventually what it requires is that there be an opportunity somewhere and somebody knows we need that guy.
Yeah.
And that's happened for both of us now. And that's fun.
It is fun. And I think part of what you mentioned there is, and you know this too, being multidimensional in this game is essential now. And one of the things, it's funny you talked about the recording on the videos. There's one person, and I don't mind naming him because I've told him this to him personally. Troy Hughes changed my life when it came to this business, because one day he had a recording of something that I think he had gotten off of television or somewhere, and it was on his phone. And I said, hey man, how did you get that off of wherever you got it from and got it on your phone and put it on social media? He's like, hey, look, dummy, you can record this on your iPhone and then put it up on Twitter or Instagram. And when I learned how to do that, it changed the entire way I went about this whole social media game, because I was like, oh, I could just screen capture all this stuff and be able to put it out on social media and then be able to create more engagement that way. Like, those are the small things I think in this industry that part of what has changed so much about this business. You have to be able to be malleable in that way, because otherwise you can get left behind in certain respects in that way.
Yeah. Otherwise you better just get to a full-time host job, and then not knowing that'll be okay. You can work that out.
That's right. Speaking of working, as we move off the serious stuff for a second. Hey man, what happened to the Cowboys on Sunday against Buffalo? Did they just run into a better team, a good team, or there's just something to the idea that they just can't win games on the road at this point?
I think there's all sorts of things. I think I get to do this. Like I thought the Bills were going to beat them. I
picked the Bills too. I did pick them as well. Yes.
I think the Bills are one of the 2 best teams in the AFC. I think the Bills are one of the 3 to 5 best teams in football. I think the Bills are comfortably better than the Eagles. Don't let the records fool you. So I thought that the Cowboys were going to lose to the Bills, but I thought they would at least be competitive. And so I think there's a lot of things. I think there's injuries catching up. I think there is one team had a better plan for what that game was going to look like and how they were going to attack the other team. One team did a better job adjusting to the fact that, it is going to be pretty cold and kind of rainy and windy and all the different things. And then, a weakness of the Cowboys was exposed. There is a weakness for the Cowboys, which is that they are small and lean. And it's not by design. They didn't want Jonathan Hankins, Leighton Vander Esch, DeMarvion Overshown. They didn't want all those guys to be hurt. They didn't want to play a safety at linebacker. They didn't want to do a lot of probably what they had to do. But I mean, I think the Bills, they outplayed them. They outcoached them. They out everythinged them. And does that mean the Cowboys suck? No. Does it mean that the Bills would smoke the Cowboys if they played them again? No. But it means that if you went back into that same environment and played them again, you better have a better plan for how you're going to play both sides of the football if you're going to beat them. Because I think that was one of the first times they were outcoached. And and I think that's what happened, is they recognized we can put, when the Bills, when we're on offense, we can put 7 dudes out there that are 250 pounds or more. And even if we get 8 of your guys in the box, 3 of them are going to be safeties. Yeah. And we can mash you. And their best player, their game plan was, we don't need you. Because that's football. Football is not supposed to be, this is what we do. Because if you just showed up and did, this is what we do, then the Bills would have thrown the ball a lot, because that is what they do. Don't get me wrong. They're one of the best running teams in football. They also have Josh Allen.
Right.
We throw. We're here to hang all the points and all the yards. We're here to do it. And they showed up and went, oh, wait, let's look at our opponent. What would be a problem for them? Okay. Enjoy handing the ball off, Josh. You know? And on defense, if you can do a good job of a lot of what they did stayed fairly consistent in terms of they mostly rushed 4 guys and dropped 7.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't know pre-snap and post-snap look different, whether I'm 2 deep and 5 underneath, 3 deep and 4 underneath, playing man with 2 guys over the top, the only thing that was fairly consistent was you ain't throwing bombs.
Right.
And they did have one chance, and they missed it.
They did.
But they did have one chance. And that, if you can get, like, when it's like, hey, there's a blueprint to beat Team X, I will tell you this. If you can pressure with 4 guys, drop 7 guys into coverage, still be competent at stopping the run, and you get pressure with your 4-man rush, yes, that's the blueprint to beat every team to ever play football, is to have your 4 guys be better than their 5 or 6 and use 7 guys to cover their 4 without letting them run it down your throat, even though you don't have enough bodies to stop the run. Yes, that's a great blueprint.
That's ideal.
Everybody. Yes. It doesn't go that way every week. And some weeks you have a better plan for when you catch them in man and when you catch them in zone, and figuring out how to recognize which is which. Or maybe you do need to run option routes when it looks like man, it turns out it's zone. Run the hell away from that dude instead of running all well, I guess if it's zone, you would want to run all curls. But whatever, like there's different ways to beat different things. And the Cowboys didn't have a great idea of what they were looking at. They weren't protecting well enough against a 4-man rush. There was a bunch of 2 dudes covering a few dudes. They didn't have guys open. That game was a problem. You lost a chess game. Bad.
It reminded me a lot of the game against San Francisco, to be honest with you. I mean, San Francisco said, look, we don't need to bring extra guys. We believe the other 7 other guys that we have, whether it be in our linebacker and secondary, are good enough to cover your guys. And we're going to run the football because we have, that's right, probably the best left tackle in the game, the best running back in the game. We got the best blocking tight end in the game. Oh, and we probably have the best blocking wide receiver in the game too, in Deebo Samuel. Like, we got a lot of best out here, and we feel like we can beat you in a lot of ways. And I feel like Buffalo took a lot of the same blueprint to them on Sunday.
Yeah, and in the case of San Francisco, I do also think that it's if you want to run that one back, like if you told me the Cowboys and Bills made the Super Bowl, I'd say, cool, this will be fun. But if you tell me the Cowboys and 49ers play in the NFC title game or in the second round or whatever, I go, God, don't. Because that team's a machine. I don't care who you are. Philly, Dallas, Buffalo, Baltimore. I don't care who you are. San Francisco's a machine.
Yeah.
And they're objectively, the way I like to look at how good our teams is just how good have you been all year and what do the betting markets think about you?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, San Francisco is considered more than 3 points better than anyone else in the NFL.
Jeez.
If they're the home team for an NFC title game, they're going to be in an NFC title game and be favored by 8 or 9 points. And they'll probably win by more than that. The only time they've been mortal is when you took away their left tackle, their best yak guy, and for some of that, McCaffrey. Healthy San Francisco, you just had to show up, play your absolute best game, and probably hope that they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo, I would say, that's fine. Run it back. We're going to, where are we going to play? It's the Super Bowl. Okay. We're going to be on a nice field indoors, or we're going to have good weather. Cool. Let's see if you can outscore them. San Francisco, I go, oh God.
Whether it be here in Dallas or in San Francisco, it doesn't matter. It feels like at this point.
Please let them screw something up. We need mistakes.
Shout out to the Rams. Hopefully they can handle business in the wild card round, and then they can be the low seed. They can go to San Francisco if the playoffs were to start today, and they can go maybe beat. I mean, Stafford is good at that. He has beaten San Francisco before, in playoff situations. So maybe that's a thing for him. Maybe that's his thing.
Hey,
beating San Francisco.
Give it a try. It's not impossible. I do think Philly is the team that if they end up as the 2 seed, if it ended up being the Rams as the 7, I'd pick them to beat Philly. Philly is the one. Yeah. Philly is the one really good record team that is not that good, and it's still weird to me. But their defense sucks.
I know.
Their defense sucks. Like they're bottom 3 in the league, with one of the best D lines in football and corners that were supposed to be good. They're just not anymore. But all they have is a defensive line, and even that isn't stopping the run very well. It's all very strange. But the Philadelphia Eagles are last year's Vikings.
And I was trying not to take it there with them because somebody had brought that to me earlier this year, and I was trying not to go there because I wanted to show a little bit more respect to Philadelphia because, they had went to the Super Bowl last year, so I wasn't trying to go there. But now as the evidence continues to present itself, hello, Seattle, it does feel like that they are this year's version of the Minnesota Vikings, which is wild to think for a team that went to the Super Bowl last year.
And I get it, but then you look back and it's like, but that team did win 13 games last year, right? I think they were 13-4. And so I get it, where Philadelphia has a better track record than that, and we believe that they're better, and we believe that Hurts is better than Cousins.
I would tend to think so when he's playing. When he's right, I would tend to think Jalen Hurts is a better overall quarterback than Kirk Cousins.
But it is just a track record thing. Like, who are the Philadelphia Eagles? The Eagles are one of the top 5 offenses in football and one of the 5 worst defenses in football. Their point differential points to a team that should probably be, how many have we played? 14. They should probably be 8-6. And they have been fortunate enough, and you don't get to take it away from them. But lucky is the word, kind of, because
shout out to Monday night in Kansas City.
Right. And we have 100 years of evidence in football, maybe not 100, but that close games, 1-score games, the results of those, like no quarterback or team is magically, we always win our close games. It doesn't happen. From year to year, you'll see teams go, wee.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, the Vikings won every close game. This year, the Steelers started off winning every close game. So did the Eagles. And so their records look really, really good. And yet, we have learned lessons historically. Point differential does tell a story. It is a good predictor of things moving forward, more so than your current record. And so we factor it in. And yes, they're last year's Vikings. If the Eagles win the Super Bowl, I guess it's possible, but I think that they have a chance to win a first-round game as the home team, and then they get run. And the Cowboys might not be any different. So don't take this as this is, you're a Cowboy guy. You're talking crap about the Eagles. Cowboys might not be any different. We have plenty of evidence that if they run into somebody tough and it's on the road, that they might get run too.
Yeah.
But the Eagles have all the evidence.
Yeah, I laughed at people who told me, I don't care if the Cowboys, don't get a home playoff game or multiple home playoff games. I just want them to get healthy. This, that, and the third. I was like, no, you want this version of the Cowboys to have as many home games as possible because they prove it to you right now. They can't win away from AT&T Stadium, but when they play on that fast turf at AT&T, they can win all the games that they want to at home, it seems like.
Yeah, they want good weather and running fast. That's what the Cowboys want. The Cowboys weren't the team that showed up to Buffalo going, it's cold, it's a little rainy, and it's windy. They're not a very good run defense. By the way, all these things are true.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the team that showed up and said, let's do it.
Yeah.
Buffalo was.
Buffalo definitely was. They were about that all day.
Didn't Dallas turn around real fast from what they pretended they were going to be?
Woo!
We're going to run the ball and we're going to play for our defense. And then they realized, wait, we massively overreacted to something that was a total non-story with Dak last year. And we are not nearly as good at defense or running the ball as we thought we were. Oh my God, Dak's good. Carry us.
And Dak said, okay, cool. Yeah. I'll definitely oblige.
Sometimes you need some more.
How about that?
Give some
all right, before I let you go, I satisfied the Cowboys people who's like, talk Cowboys. All right, I satisfied those people. Before I let you go, tell me something that you are most thankful for this season as you get ready for the end of this year and get ready for 2024. What has got you in a space right now where you are grateful about something to encourage the people out here today?
I will say it's an interesting question because as you said it, I was thinking about how the last 3 to 4 weeks have kind of been struggle bus for me, which happens sometimes. Like I'm on a really good run of therapy and thinking that I'm in a really good place, but then you get away from it and you kind of get away from some of those tools and you're at the house by yourself and it doesn't necessarily work the same way. I will say I am grateful that there is no such thing as too late for learning about yourself and your ability to overcome challenges. I am grateful for mental health awareness and the tools being available to try to give people a better chance at a good day. I am grateful for self-help books and I don't want to overdo books, but like the ones that you're reading.
As you got all those books sitting behind you, right?
Yeah, and some of them are self-help books, I promise you. Up there. No, I'm grateful that at the age of 39, as somebody who's struggled with a few different things in my life, I'm grateful for perspective to know that it's not too late. No one's behind. It's not like the whole world is not doing better. You're not weird. It's everybody is unique and on their own little path and their own little journey and their own little schedule. So I guess I'm grateful for perspective. How about that?
No, I would take that and agree with that, because you learn a lot of that in the course of whether it be life, changing a job, relationships. Perspective is always something that can be had and to be learned from, because it can help guide you in a way that sometimes other things can't, because you may make a decision one way based off of something that you may thought you have known, but a little perspective and a little time will help you make a little bit better decision, or try to make a better decision based on the information that's available to you. And that's all we can do, is make the best decision that we can with the information that's available to us. And hopefully you use a little bit, those words are hard, use a little bit of that perspective to be able to make that decision in that way.
You did a better job recovering from a flub. When I flub, I end up evolving and making the sound that goes, meh.
Jeff, tell the folks so they can find you, what you got going on, man.
I'm on 97.1 The Freak in DFW. That's on the iHeartRadio app if you're outside the listening area, from 2 to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. If you only care about sports, I would listen at 2:30 and 4 o'clock each day. That's the sports desk and the best damn sports segment, period. I'm on social media things at Time for Jeffrey, and I'm on YouTube, and it's just my name, Jeff Kavanaugh. That's it.
Well, I'm looking forward, because Thursday, there it is. On Thursday, I'm going to be joining my man on the Speakeasy from 2 to 6 p.m.
Wait, is that tomorrow?
That is tomorrow. The day before my birthday. So I'm going to spend some time with you the day before my birthday, doing some radio. So I'm looking forward to that.
Everybody send presents for Kevin.
Hey, that would be nice. That would be very nice. That would be nice if you did that.
Our listeners will do it. They love sending things to us.
Oh, really?
Candy and stuffed animals mostly, but
not stuffed animals.
And things that are sex jokes. Yeah.
Well, I'll tap into some of that, maybe some of the other stuff. Tap into some of that on Thursday. So, Jeff, I appreciate the time and the conversation as always, my man. Thank you so much, and I look forward to hopping on and doing some radio with you on Thursday.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Love you, buddy.
That's it for this episode of the Gray Area Podcast. Again, thank you to my guest, Jeff Kavanaugh of 97.1 The Freak, for joining me here on Interview Wednesdays. I'll be back on Friday for Friends Friday. I got a special guest coming on Friday that you may be familiar with. He's going to be joining me every single Friday after that. So tune in, and I'll let you know who that is.
Is it Reggie?
I can't say. I can neither confirm nor deny that. I can neither confirm or deny that. But you'll know who it is come Friday. So until then, make sure you download and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get the podcast for free. Give it a 5-star rating and write a review while you're there. And until Friday, I'll talk to you later. Peace.